You're about to meet Steve Huddleston, the senior horticulturist at the Fort Worth Botanic Garden, and you'll see why I have him on my program every Sunday morning on the radio to talk about what they have going on at the Botanic Garden. He's going to be talking about perennials. I don't have a lot of perennials in my landscape because of all the shade. I do have some that will do well in the shade. The purple oxalis you saw initially has just kind of struck up a life for itself there in the ground cover bed, and I kind of like it. Let's go to the Botanic Garden now and see what Steve has in store for us.
Here we are in the trial garden. This is where we feature about 250 different perennials. We trial them to see how well they perform here in north central Texas. Every year we compile a list of about 50 best performers that do well here in the trial garden. We recommend those because they hold up to the heat, they bloom, they are disease and insect resistant. And of those 50, of course, we can choose 10 that are really outstanding. First of all, people want color in their landscapes. They want something that will bloom all season long if possible. And these top 10 perennials do just that. They will bloom from spring through the summer on into the fall. So you've got all season long full of color, and these are low maintenance perennials too. Once they're established, they're pretty low maintenance. Okay, this is Salvia greggii, or autumn sage, one of my absolute favorite salvias. It's native to West Texas. It does very well in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's really a subshrub. It gets about 2, maybe 2.5 feet tall. The leaves are nearly, if not completely, evergreen, depending on how cold the winter might be. Well, this is Russian sage. It is actually native to Afghanistan and Pakistan, where it grows in rocky, gravelly soil. It's a good companion plant for roses or a number of other perennials in a mixed border. But it's one tough little plant. It's quite drought tolerant. It tolerates the heat. Well, this is rock rose or pavonia, another great perennial for our area. It's in the mallow or hibiscus family, and the flowers do look something like a small hibiscus flower. Oh, this is a plant that tolerates full sun and heat very well, even reflected heat. This is flame acanthus or Anisacanthus radii. It's not blooming right now, but later in the season it will bloom, May or at least June through October. It will have very slender tubular flowers that are a bright orangey red. That really attract hummingbirds. So this is a great plant for a hummingbird garden. Well, Turk's cap is one of my absolute favorite perennials for the shade. As you might note, we're not standing in the shade now. They will grow in full sun. In fact, this is a pink flowering variety called Pampuryear. The species is red, but both in full sun can get about 5, even 6 feet tall. This is Greg's mist flower or Eupatorium greggii. It's a robust grower. I'm not going to say it's aggressive, but it can take over an area, as you can see it is done here in this plot. But this is a great plant for a hummingbird garden. The flowers are appearing now, but they will persist through the summer and into the fall, at which point the painted ladies, the Gulf fritillaries, and the monarchs will be all over this. This is another great perennial for our area. This is Gaura, or whirling butterflies. Does well in full sun, sandy, well-drained soil. It has a deep taproot, and it likes to reach deep into the soil to find moisture, but once established, it's rather drought tolerant. The plant itself gets about 30 inches tall, and then it's covered with these long, wiry stems with little white flowers. There's also a pink flowering variety called Siskiyou pink. It's a great plant for a delicate filler or mass in the perennial border. People can come here and see how well the plants are doing and what they look like with other plants, and people can get some ideas for their own landscapes by looking at our plants right here in the garden.
All right, Steve Huddleston from the Fort Worth Botanic Garden, thank you very much. 10 perennials that you and I need to include in our landscapes, to be sure. I count the roses here as perennials. They certainly come back year after year, and they're not really shrubs, although I treat them that way. This is red knockout rose, one of my favorites. You probably have it as well. We have deadheaded them to let them establish over the summertime to get ready for the fall bloom. They have 2 wonderful bloom seasons. We're going to take a break right now, and coming back from that, we're going to have Andrea doing something odd with fire ants, and then Chef Chris, heirloom tomato and feta salad. Stay tuned.